Hi, this is Kester. Stay tuned if you want to learn this effect.
Bomb has been planted.
What you need is a source video containing the ARP shot, like you can see here in the background, and the editing software Sony Vegas. After loading Sony Vegas, you need to add your source video to the project. As my source video is a little bit longer than the segment I would like to show you, I'm just cutting it to a small time before and a small time after the ARP shot, so you can see the difference by the custom scope. Don't forget to disable resample. And what I'm doing now is I'm creating a new video track where I want to add the special effect to. The first step is to define where the special effect needs to take place, which is the segment of the video where the ARP is zoomed in. So I'm going to the first frame where it is zoomed in, and I'm cutting the source video with the key S, and then I'm looking for the ARP shot itself, or the frame before the ARP shot where the zoom gets out. I'm cutting it again, and this segment I'm going to duplicate and add to my new video lane. The next step will be to add another video lane above our second video lane, so there will be a third one where the custom scope has to be placed in. If you search for the Google picture search, you will find several scopes online. I have several to choose from, but I'm going to choose this one as I used it in my last video compilation. And as you can see here, I'm just aligning it to the segment of the video where the ARP is zoomed in. Don't forget to disable resample, and what the next step will be is to chroma key this specific scope overlay so that the background video can be seen behind it. You can play around with all those settings until you can clearly see the scope itself. And then you have a video where in the moment where the ARP is zoomed in, the scope overlay is shown.
Bomb has been planted.
To make it possible that the effects are only applied to the scope area and not the general area, I'm going to create a mask for the video lane where our segment of the scoped in area is, and this mask will be created in alignment with the scope overlay, which will result in the possibility to add visual effects to the area within the scope and other special effects to the area without the scope overlay. So if I exit the mask generator and switch the first video lane on and off, you will see that the mask itself creates an area only within the scope. So now we have the possibility to add some visual effects to the area around the scope. I'm usually using Gaussian blur, the glow effect, some brightness and contrast, and the color corrector. Those are all default effects within Vegas. And first of all, I would like to blur the area around the scope, which I'm doing with the blur effect. The glow effect is just to create a more dynamic surrounding of the scope. You can use any color if you like to, but I'm just working by fiddling around with the setting of this plugin, as you can see here. Same goes for brightness and contrast. It's all personal taste and considering the effect you would like to achieve, and same goes for the color correction. As you can see here, as a result you get a video where the area around the scope has some visuals around it, and the area within the scope is still bright and clear. The next step will be adding another video layer which will be the layer that creates the cool scope effect. You will have to add a solid color, white color, to this video layer and align the time of this white color to the segment of the clip where the scoped in area is, and then you will have to add another mask to this white area so that you will have a scoped in area which is completely filled in white. For demonstration purposes, I'm going to add another mask layer within this one with the opposite settings, so that we only have a very small area of white around the crosshair afterwards. So add a new mask layer again, switch it to the opposite direction, and as you can see here, now we are editing our white area so that we will have a very small white circle which fits to the outer area of our scope overlay. And to add effect to this white area, just go to the context menu of the video lane where the solid color is placed in and set the compositing mode to custom. This will allow you to apply a special effect on the total video lane, and the effects we are using is called Vegas height map, and what this effect does is change everything that is white into a height map. As you can see here, we already have a pretty cool first impression of our scoping effect, and then you can start configuring the scoping effect to your tastings. My recommendation is to only fiddle with the amplitude and the smoothness, and there is another setting which is hidden in the Dropbox on the lower left hand corner where it says wrap pixels around, which will result in using all the background video information to create the height map and not having some black space or something like that. So the last step will be some fine-tuning by adding color correction to your segment of the inner area of the scope. As you can see here, if you apply color correction to our scope segment, it will only apply to a limited space within the scope. This is because we have two masked areas within the white space of the height map. So if you enter the height map again and remove the inner circle of the height map masking, you will see that the color correction is applied correctly, and you can adjust it even more by getting to the settings of the height map and boosting the smoothness. As you can see here, it looks pretty sick by just adjusting this little setting icon. As the color correction of the inner circle is now different to the color correction of the outer circle of the scope, you can decide on your own if you want to change this. As you can see here, it's pretty easy by just entering the special effects for the first video lane and setting it to a desired color correction. Also, sometimes the scope doesn't fit to this color correction, so you have also the option to apply some color correction or brightness and contrast, like as you can see here, to the scope itself, to make it more of a complete look than instead of too high of a difference between the color corrections of each layer we are working on. So this is the final result: blurred outside, color correction inside and outside, and a scope that fits. So a little tutorial on sound editing as bonus to this one. If you want to make your sound with a higher impact, just add another lane for the sound and put in the orb shooting sound. So I'm using the orb shooting sound, but I'm using it reversed to make a ramp up for the actual shoot. As you can see here, I'm just aligning it to the shot, and to make it with a higher impact, I'm stretching it and selecting a lock to properties, which allows to have a clearer sound. And so there will be this orb sound ramping up, and then the actual shot, as you can see here by the preview.
Bomb has been planted. Bomb has been planted.
Nice. But the actual shot is a little bit low in terms of volume, so I'm adding some more volume to it.
Bomb has been planted.
Okay, now we have to work on the impact of the actual shot. I'm going to stretch the video here by using the Control key to create a slow motion effect on the video as well as on the audio file. Keep in mind to set the properties to lock to stretch to make a clearer sound.
Bomb has been planted.
And this is the final result.
Bomb has been planted.
Yeah, of course, if you have Play, you can use it like this.